Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Yud Zayin Amud Beis, 17b of Maseches Taanis. We are 3 lines from the bottom of the page. The Gemara had quoted a brisa, seemingly from Megillas Taanis. It said that the following days are days on which one doesn't fast, and some of them one doesn't eulogize. And it gave 2 cases. The brisa said, from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the 1st of Nisan, until the 8th of Nisan, one may not fast or eulogize because it's a celebration of the fact that they established the Tamid, the daily offering. We explained last week that there was a dispute between the Prushim, the Pharisees, and the Tzidukim, the Sadducees, as to whether the carbon Tamid, the daily offering, could come from an individual's donation, or if it had to come from the tzibur, the congregation as a whole. The Tzidukim held that an individual could pay for the tamid, and the Prushim said no, it has to come from public coffers. And ultimately, the Tzidukim won out. The Prushim won out, the Pharisees, the Chazal, and they made a celebration for that. And that was from the 1st of Nisan until the 8th. And then it said from the 8th of Nisan until the end of the Moed, until the end of Pesach, they had a celebration because they won a different argument against the Tzidukim, which was, when does the Omer start? Since the verse says Mimachar es Shabbos, from the day after Shabbos, the Tzidukim took that literally and said that the Karban Omer is always brought on a Sunday, and therefore Shavuos is always on a Sunday. And the Prushim argued that no, we have a tradition, we have an oral Torah, Torah Shabbal Peh, which teaches us that Shabbos in this case refers to Pesach. The day after the first day of Pesach, that's when you bring the Karban Omer, and again they won that victory, and that's why Shavuos for us is always 50 days after the second day of Pesach. 50 days from the second day of Pesach. So, and because of that, that dispute was won during that time, around Pesach time, and it says, from the 8th of Nisan until after Pesach, that is celebrated. You cannot fast and you cannot eulogize. So we examined the first part of the brisa last week. We're going to come back to that momentarily, but first we will now examine the second part of the brisa. So the Gemara says, we are on, again, 3 lines from the bottom in the middle of the line. Amar Mar, the master said, meaning we said in this brisa, Mitmanya bei ad sof moada itusav chaga de shavueh, from the 8th of Nisan until the end of the holiday of Pesach, the end of the Moed, the holiday of Shavuos was established, and therefore, meaning they established that the Omer is brought on the second day of Pesach, and Shavuos is therefore 50 days from then. So they established the Lola Mispad, that one may not eulogize. Ask the Gemara, Lamali ad Sof Moed. Why does it have to say in Megillas Taanis that you cannot, that this celebration that you cannot eulogize goes until the end of Pesach? Lema ad HaMoed, just say until Pesach. Umoed gufe Yom Tov hu ve'aser, and the Moed itself, Pesach itself, you don't have to tell me it's forbidden to eulogize because of this rabbinic enactment, this rabbinic holiday. It's Pesach, and it's forbidden to eulogize because it's Yom Tov. So why does it say from the 8th until the end of Pesach? So Amar Rav Papa said, Kita Amar Rav, it's similar to what Rav said, which we quoted last week, that Rav said, Lo nitzricha elo lesor yom shalafanav. We asked last week, why does the brisa say that from Rosh Chodesh Nisan until the 8th of Nisan it was a holiday? It should have said from the 2nd of Nisan, because Rosh Chodesh Nisan anyways is Rosh Chodesh, it's a holiday anyways. So why is it necessary for Megillas Taanis to mention that day as a day that you cannot fast because of the special holiday that they beat the Tzidukim in an argument? It's Rosh Chodesh anyways. So to that the Gemara quoted Rav as saying, it's Lo Nitzricha, we only need it Elo Lasor Yom Shalafanav. It's necessary to forbid the day before, because Rosh Chodesh, which is a biblical holiday, we said you don't have to support it. It doesn't need, it's from the Torah. Everybody will respect it, and therefore you don't have to add the day before and forbid the day before also from eulogies. However, a rabbinic holiday is necessary to forbid the day before from eulogies, so therefore they wrote in Megillas Taanis that it begins already from Rosh Chodesh to teach us that the day before is also forbidden to eulogize, because this is also a rabbinic holiday. So we'll take the same kind of answer and apply it here. Our question over here is, why does it say that it goes until the end of Pesach, this other holiday? Anyways, it's Pesach, and you can't eulogize because it's Pesach. So here, Hachanami, here also, Lo nitzracha el leser yom shala'acharav. It's necessary to forbid the day after Pesach in eulogies, because the day before and the day after are both forbidden. Now, the Gemara is going to ask a question, because if you go back to the Mishnah, not everybody held that the day after should be forbidden to eulogize. The Mishnah said that the days in Megillas Taanis that you can't eulogize, lefanav asur la'acharav mutter. The first opinion said the day before is forbidding, but the day after is permitted. And Rabbi Yossi Omer lefanav asur la'acharav Rabbi Yossi Omer lefanav ula acharav asur. Both the day before and the day after the holiday are both forbidden. So it's only Rabbi Yossi who held that the day after the holiday is forbidden. So this answer, with that we're saying that the reason why it's said in Megillas Taanis that the holiday goes until Pesach is to teach us that the day after Pesach is also forbidding. Again, for the same reason that we mentioned before, that Pesach itself is biblical. We don't have to forbid the day after. Everybody will respect the fact that you can't eulogize on Pesach. But now that it's a rabbinic holiday, they might not respect that rabbinic holiday, and therefore they said also the day after the holiday is forbidden. But that's only according to Rabbi Yossi. So ask the Gemara, Keman ki Rabbi Yossi. Who are we going like? We're going like Rabbi Yossi, Da'amar, Bein Lefanav, Bein La'acharav Aser, who held that not only the day before the holiday is forbidden to eulogize, but also the day after. And that's why it was necessary to say that the holiday goes until Pesach, until the end of Pesach, to forbid the day after Pesach. Ihachi, if that's the case, be'esrim v'tisha nami. So going back to our other discussion about why does it say Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Teipaklei, right? Isn't it Rosh Chodesh anyways? We said, no, you need Megillas Taanis to say Rosh Chodesh to forbid the day before. But Teipaklei, be'esrim v'tisha nami, but that 29th day of Adar, the day before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, ma'irya to have a yoma de mikamei, yoma de misukim tamida. Why do I care that it's the day before the day that they established the Tamid, and therefore it's forbidden to eulogize? Tepukle to have ale yoma de basar esring and tmanya be. I have another reason to forbid you from eulogizing on the 29th of Adar, because it's the day after the 28th of Adar. Now, what holiday is on the 28th of Adar? And don't tell me it's Purim, because that's on the 14th of Adar. There's a new holiday that we've never heard of, but it's in Megillas Taanis. It's an old holiday. Titania says in the Brisa, it's quoted in Rosh Hashanah, Be'esrim v'tmanya be, on the 28th of Adar, Osas besurta tavta liyudai. Some good news came to the Jews. Delo ye'idun min harais, they no longer have to refrain from learning Torah. What happened? Shepam achas nigzra gezerah al Yisrael. There was one time where there was a terrible decree against the Jewish people. Shelo yasku b'Torah v'shelo yamolus b'neihem v'sheyichalu shabbosos. That they could not learn Torah, they could not do bris milah, circumcision, and they had to desecrate the Shabbos. This was the decree, seemingly passed down by the Romans. Ma'asa Yehuda ben Shemua v'chaver. What did Yehuda ben Shemua and his friends do? Halchu v'natlu eitzel mimatronisa achas. They went to take advice from a certain woman, noble woman, Shekol Gedolei Romi Mitzuyin Etzla, that all the greats of Rome would go to her. She was in with them, and she knew the way the politics worked. So they asked for her advice. I guess she was friendly to the Jews. So Amra Lahem, or maybe she was Jewish, it's not clear actually. Amra Lahem, she said to them, Amdu v'hafkinu balayla. You should get up and protest at night. So halchu v'hafkinu balayla. They protested at night. Amru, and they said the following. They said, Ei shamayim, woe heavens. They swore, And they said to the Romans, Lo achim anachnu, are we not brothers? Lo b'nei av echad anachnu, aren't we from the same father? We both come from Abraham, from Avraham. You're descendants of Esav, but we're right. So we're both from Yitzchak, really. Lo b'nei ema achas anachnu, don't we have the same mother, Rivka? Manishtanino mikol uma velasham. How are we different than all nations and tongues? Sha'atem gozering aleinu gezeros ros, that you decree upon us these terrible decrees. The Jews said to the Romans, "We're brothers. Why are you making these decrees against us?" Ubatlum, and they accepted this protest. Right? They held their signs. They protested, and it was accepted, and they nullified the decree. So now they were once again allowed to learn Torah. So they made that day into a Yantif. And what day was it? It was the 28th of Adar. And this is mentioned in Megillas Taanis. So if the 28th of Adar is a rabbinic holiday, then the 29th of Adar is the day after. And if we're going with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, then the 29th of Adar is forbidden to eulogize because it's the day after this holiday. So if it's anyways forbidden, so why, when we talk about this new holiday from the 1st of Nisan until the 8th of Nisan, why do we have to talk about the 1st of Nisan? We said the reason why was because we want to forbid the day before, which is the 29th of Adar. Well, the 29th of Adar, if we're going in the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, is forbidding anyways to eulogize because it's the day after, the 28th of Adar. And that's a holiday too. So, Amar Abaye said, you know when it's necessary? For a leap year. If you have a leap year, then you need it. He says a leap month. Rashi understands, at least in Rashi's first understanding, that he means a leap year. Meaning, Adar normally is 29 days. If you have two Adars, though, so then the first Adar is 29 days, and the second Adar is 30 days. So if the second Adar now is 30 days, so then the day before Rosh Chodesh is the 30th of Adar. And the day after the 28th, that other holiday is the 29th of Adar. So if you have a leap year and you're only relying on the fact that it's the day after the 28th, well, that's only going to cover the 29th. And the 30th, people will then, they'll eulogize on. But it's the day before rabbinic holiday. So I had to say in Megillas Taanis that holiday starts from the 1st of Nisan and not the 2nd, because if it had said the 2nd, then we would not forbid the day before the 1st. And in a leap year, we wouldn't forbid the 30th of Adar. Could be, it's not a leap year, it could just be, even though normally Adar was 29 days, but it was possible for it to turn out to be 30. So, even without a leap year, you could also have a scenario where there were 30 days in Adar, and again, the holiday on the 28th will only forbid eulogies on the 29th, according to Rabbi Yossi. According to the other opinion, the first opinion, it doesn't forbid at all. And but the 30th would not be forbidden. So that's why it's necessary to say that this other holiday starts from the 1st of Nisan, and that will also forbid the day before, which sometimes will be the 30th of Adar. That was Abaye's answer. Ravashi said a different answer. Afilu tema l'chodesh chaser. Now, even in a regular year where Adar is chaser, it's only 29 days, still it's necessary to mention that the Nisan holiday begins, this special Nisan holiday, Nisan, from the 1st to the 8th, begins on the 1st. Why? Because kol shela achara b'Taanis aser behesped mutter. Says Ravashi, he seems to be reinterpreting the opinion of Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah, and he says that when we say that the day after is forbidden, what we mean is specifically b'Taanis aser. It's forbidden to fast the day after a rabbinic holiday, but behesped mutter, but it's permitted to eulogize. And the way Rashi explains it, not only is it permitted to eulogize the day after, but actually it's permitted to eulogize the day before as well. He's reinterpreting the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, that Rabbi Yossi, who forbade the day before and the day after, he was only talking about from fasting. But eulogizing the day before and the day after a rabbinic holiday is permitted according to Rabbi Yossi. So, in this case, it should be really permitted to eulogize on the 29th, because although it's the day after the 28th holiday, well, but the day after is permitted to eulogize. And it's the day before the 1st of Nisan, but the day before is permitted to eulogize. So what's going on here? So why do you have to mention the first of Nisan? Vizeh. So he says, Vizeh hoil umutal ben shnei yamim tovim, but since this day is splat in between two yomtivs, asu ki yomtiv atzmo, they made it like a yomtiv itself, afilu behespin nami aser, and it's even forbidden to eulogize. So Rav Ashi is saying that, right, seemingly, I guess you could have said that the reason why he mentions Rosh Chodesh, the 1st of Nisan, is to forbid the day before in fasting. But it's actually not clear. It may not be forbidden to fast, because it could be that in this holiday, only mentioned in the Brisa that you couldn't eulogize on that day. It could be you were allowed to fast on that day. Although, usually it doesn't work that way. Usually if you can't eulogize, then certainly you can't fast. But it possibly could have answered that the reason why it had to say the 1st of Nisan, even though you can't eulogize the day before, even though according to Rav Ashi you could eulogize the day before, but you can't fast. But that's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says a different answer. The Gemara says that we need to know that the rabbinic holiday begins on the 1st of Nisan because we have this scenario where we have the 1st of Nisan and then we have the 28th of Adar, and they're both rabbinic holidays, and in between we have the 29th. And even though normally, says Rav Ashi, Rabbi Yossi holds that you are allowed to eulogize the day before or the day after, and you should be allowed to eulogize on the 29th, but because it's between two holidays, therefore it's an exception, and even according to Rabbi Yossi, you would not be allowed to eulogize on that day because it's like an extended Yom Tov. That was Rav Ashi's answer. Okay, now we're going to further examine the Brisa. Amar Mar, again, we quote the Brisa, Mitmanya bevi ad sof mo'adei tusav chagad shvuei. We said from the 8th of Nisan until the end of Pesach, they established this special celebration for Shavuos, for getting the right day of Shavuos, to lo l'mispa, that you're not allowed to eulogize. Ask the Gemara, Lama li l'meimar mitmanya be. Why does it have to say from the 8th? Lema mitisha be. Let it say from the 9th. Utmanya gufe aser. And the 8th was anyways forbidden to have a yoma di sukkam beitamida, because it was the day that they established the Tamid. Meaning, the first half of the Brisa, the first half, right, said that from the 1st of Nisan until the 8th, it's forbidden to eulogize, because it was this rabbinic holiday revolving around establishing the Tamid. And from the 8th until the end of Pesach, it's also forbidden. Why do you have to mention the 8th? We already mentioned the 8th. It should say from the 9th until the end of Pesach. So the Gemara says, you know why you mentioned the 8th? Again, it's because Kevan de Ilu Mikla Milsa Ubatwine Lishiva Tmanya Gufe Aser. Because let's say it would happen that they would nullify the holiday from the 1st until the 8th, and therefore the first 7 days would be nullified, but the 8th day would still be standing, because it would be the first day of the celebration of establishing the holiday of Shavuos in its right time. So the Gemara now answers, you know why you have to mention the 8th again? Is because in the event that the first holiday would be nullified, but if the second holiday is still there, so then you need to know that the second holiday begins on the 8th. So the Gemara says, Hashta de asis lahachi. So once you're willing to give an answer of that sort, so then we can answer our other question. Our other question was, why is it necessary to mention the 1st of Nisan if the whole point of mentioning the 1st of Nisan is to teach me that the day before it's forbidden to eulogize as well, meaning on the 29th of Adar? We said, but why do I need that? The 28th of Adar is also a holiday. And therefore, if the 28th is a holiday, so the 29th is forbidden. So why do I have to mention the 1st of Nisan to tell me the 29th is forbidden? It's forbidden anyways. So now, Hashadas Salafi, but now that we're willing to say an answer like we just said, so let's say it for this also. Esrim B'Tishanami, I can say that the reason why I need to say that this holiday begins on the 1st of Nisan to teach me that the 29th is forbidden to eulogize is kevan de'igla mikla milsa ubatluine la esr mutmanya, because let's say it would turn out that they would nullify the holiday on the 28th. Esrim v'tisha gufe aser, but the 29th would still remain forbidden to eulogize. Davale yoma de mikame yoma de sukum tamida, because now we know that it's the day before they established the Tamid. So it's necessary to mention that the Tamid holiday begins on Rosh Chodesh Nisan to teach me that the day before, on the 29th of Adar, is also forbidden to eulogizing, even though I could deduce that from the fact that it's the day after the 28th of Adar, but still, what would happen if the 28th of Adar, that holiday would be nullified? Then the 29th would become permitted. It's teaching me, no, even in such a situation, the 29th is still forbidden to eulogize because it's the day before the holiday from the 1st of Nisan until the 8th, celebrating the establishment of the daily Karban Tamid. Says the Gemara, Itmar, it was said, Reb Chia bar Asi Amar Rav, Reb Chia bar Asi said in the name of Rav, Halacha k'Reb Yossi. The halacha is like Reb Yossi, who said that it's forbidden to eulogize both the day before and the day after a rabbinic holiday. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says halacha k'Reb Meir. The halacha is like Reb Meir, the first opinion of the Mishnah. It didn't say in the Mishnah who it was a Stam Mishnah, but Stam Mishnah is Reb Meir. If it doesn't say, then we assume it's Reb Meir. So Reb Meir held that only the day before is forbidden to eulogize, but the day after is permitted. Shmuel said that halacha is like Rabbi Meir. Asked the Gemara, Umi Amar Shmuel Hachi. Did Shmuel really say that halacha is like Rabbi Meir? The Hatanya, we have a brisa. Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer. Reb Shimon Gamliel said, Umatamanu Omer Behon Behon. Why does it say in Megillas Taanis that these are the days that it's forbidden to eulogize on them? And these are the days it's forbidden to fast on them, behon, behon. Why did it say on them? It's to teach you, sheheng asurin lifteng lacharei mutarin. Megillas Taanis is coming to tell you only those days are forbidden to eulogize or to fast, but the day before and the day after are permitted. So Reb Shimon Gamliel takes a very lenient view, and he's medayik, he's inferring from the language of Megillas Taanis that it's like on these days it's forbidden, implying that other days it's permitted, the day before and the day after. That was the opinion of Reb Shimon Gamliel. The Amar Shmuel, and Shmuel said, halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel. That the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that it's permitted to eulogize both the day before and the day after the holiday. And now Shmuel is saying that halacha is like Reb Meir, who's saying that it's actually forbidden to eulogize the day before. So Shmuel seems to be contradicting himself. Answers the Gemara, Meikara Savar, originally held Kevan Deleka Tana Demeko. Kirby Meir, Amar Halacha Kirby Meir. Originally held that there's no Tana, there's no opinion that's more lenient than Reb Meir, who only forbids you to eulogize the day before but not the day after. So he went with the lenient view of Reb Meir that you're allowed to eulogize the day after but not the day before. But Kevan Deshamil Reb Shimon Gamliel Demeko Tvei, but once he heard that Reb Shimon Gamliel is even more lenient, Amar halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel. Then he said that halacha is actually like Reb Shimon Gamliel, the more mekel, the more lenient view, because Shmuel wants to be as lenient as possible, since we are only dealing with something that is rabbinic. All these holidays are rabbinic. You can't eulogize on these days. You can't eulogize the day before or the day after. You can't. It's all rabbinic. So therefore, Shmuel wanted to take the most lenient position. Originally, he thought Reb Meir was the most lenient position, but once he heard of Reb Shimon Gamliel's opinion, which was more lenient, so then he adapted the opinion of Reb Shimon Gamliel and said that is the halacha. That's how we resolve this contradiction.